Hey everybody, it's Mr. XStitch. I'm here out with my dog. I wanted to talk today about men and cross stitch and why cross stitch for men is a thing. It should be a thing. It is a thing. Cross stitch is a funny beast. I've been involved in the world of cross stitch for, crikey, nearly 20 years, I think, since I started cross stitching. And I've been on a journey as a man who does cross stitch, coming to terms with the fact that I enjoy this craft, feeling the love for it, feeling the soothing sensations, the meditativeness of it, the way it soothes my soul while at the same time allowing me to make something amazing for myself or for other people, handmade gifts being a truly epic thing to do for people. And at the same time, just being, if you like, a normal guy who does a craft that has been associated with women and femininity for such a long time. And it's been a journey to go through, but now I'm at this point where I produce a magazine called XStitch. I do my best to go and teach cross stitch and to promote it as being a craft for everybody, regardless of background, demographics, gender, colour of your skin, where you come from, anything. Cross stitch is a universal craft that anybody can do, and there's never been a better time to get into it because there's such a plethora of designs that no matter what you're interested in, you should be able to find something you want to stitch. And yet for guys to try and start doing cross stitch, it still remains a bit of a challenge. There's this hurdle to get over in the first place. There are many people who want to find relaxation in their lives. There are many people who need to take a break, need to give themselves some time. There are people who have got creativity within them but don't necessarily know how to tap into that. And the problem is with things like video games and consumption of media, the consumption doesn't really support your own creativity. It's the production that is the thing that makes you grow and the thing that gives you the pleasure. And I think the thing is that for lots of people, like cross stitch would be a great craft to get into if only they thought that that was something that was appropriate. For lots of men, spending an evening, watching the telly, but at the same time doing a bit of stitching, making a little something that reflects their tastes, it's just a great thing to do, but it just doesn't seem to occur. There are many things that you think, I don't know, model making, colouring in, whatever gets a little bit trendy, those things seem to be appropriate, but it's rare that cross stitch is a thing that would naturally occur to men. And yet I'm here to say that it's a great pastime. It's one of the best things that you can do as a guy because, it makes you better. It slows you down. It gives you time to reflect on the days that you've had and the life that you've had. It gives you an opportunity to make something. It gives you this like mindful meditation because every time you stitch, you're remaining in the present. And that's a really powerful tool. As anybody who's ever done any meditation can attest to, it's a really powerful tool. And yet it's not got the baggage that sometimes you get with meditation. I think for some people, meditating can be considered a little bit too hippy-dippy. And cross stitch doesn't have that. It gives you meditation, but without you needing to get into chakras and crystals and that kind of narrative. And the other thing is it's okay for men to do it, and men need to be seen to be doing it so that other men realize it's okay for men to do it. It's such a strange historical storyline that says men create art and we are amazing and we go and conquer the world. And, women, you have to stay at home and stay in the corner. And it's just bullshit. It's just the way it was. And then it's almost like illustrations of people stitching show people sat in a corner doing some stitching, and it's not very dramatic. So it's got that humility. And it served a purpose really well for men back in the day to kind of assert themselves over women, because let's face it, men are idiots and we need to do that sort of thing because women are great and we can't be having that now, can we? And so this story's evolved over time and now we just take it as rote. And then you find that the mainstream markets don't really do anything to provide content for men. I remember when I first started stitching in the early 2000s, and if I wanted to find something that was for me, it was going to be like a wizard or a sports car or something like that. Like nothing that's like a modern man thing. And the problem is for a lot of the mainstream magazines now, no disrespect, but they're still trumpeting out the same thing. Oh, we need to do something for a man. Let's do a mini, or let's do a pork pie. Do you know what I mean? Like cliches, and they don't serve any benefit in encouraging modern, forward-thinking young men, or men of any age, or people of any gender, to want to stitch these designs, because it's just like stepping back into the 1980s. It's just like there's a flaw there, and the problem is that the mainstream market can't take the risks to challenge that. They just want to stay in the middle, keep things mediocre, because that sells to the masses. But the good news is I'm here with my magazine, and we're on a mission to make sure that cross stitch for men is a thing that is okay. You know, I'm not going to get too salesy on XStitch, but each issue's got 12 different designs, and because I curate the issues, I make sure that there's kind of something for everybody. So there's cute things and nice things, but at the same time there's masculine things, and you know, each of the themes varies from the last. So there's lots of themes that would be acceptable to men, and there's just lots of patterns that are acceptable to men, non-binary people, people of any gender. You know, I'm not really on a mission to say cross stitch is only for men, but what I am on a mission to say is it's okay for men to do cross stitch. And actually, the more men that do cross stitch, the better they're going to feel about it. The more people that get involved in cross stitch and challenge the I don't want to do a flowery cross stitch, the more the markets will move and make more patterns available, because they respond to the need. Part of the problem we have is just the big companies don't think men are into cross stitch, so they don't really make any effort. Now, I've got a special edition magazine that I've put together on the XStitch website, which is like a little introduction to cross stitch for men. It's got some patterns from male designers. It's got just a few comments from me on the subject. And if you're interested in it, I'll put a link in the notes so that you can go and download it. It's free. Just give me your email address. You can get it. And it's just an introduction to it. And the thing is, if you're a guy who's into stitching, or if you're a guy who like just wants to do a handcraft of some form, or you're a guy who's got creative ideas but you don't know how to start them, sometimes the first step on a creative path is something like cross stitch. It's something that just gets the ball rolling. And it might be you start with cross stitch and you end up machine knitting complex circuits of retro video games, or it might be that you start off with cross stitch and you stick with cross stitch for the rest of your life, or you start off with cross stitch and you end up moving to a point where you make dinosaur sculptures out of car parts. Creativity will take you wherever it goes, but you've got to start somewhere. And if you want something that is a great form of relaxation, a creative pastime, and something that you can do and show people and be like, look at this thing I made, I'm proud of this fact, then cross stitch is the place to start. And quite frankly, XStitch is the place to help you. So have a look, hit the link in the show notes. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you a guy who stitches? Are you interested in stitching? Are you just a person who stitches? You know, let me know your take on this subject. I appreciate you. I will see you soon. Happy stitching, everybody.